Chris Kelsey here with
Matt Howell.
On this episode of The First Run, Matt and I are going to discuss the latest film from the Conjuring cinematic universe, The Nun. Matt, I got to tell you, out of all the spin-offs, even more so than Annabelle, I think I was most excited for The Nun, making her premiere in the second Conjuring film, scary as all heck. So I was kind of looking forward to this one. I also saw Peppermint, which I don't believe you did, directed by Pierre Morel, who gave us Liam Neeson in Taken, one of the greatest escape films of all time. Just one of those, it's Thursday night, you got the flu, and you're trying to figure out what to watch, and this is on TNT. You're going to end up watching Taken. Well, this is his latest film with Jennifer Garner. And then we both continued our martial arts marathon with the Five Venoms, or the Five Deadly Venoms, depending on where you find it. And then it's going to be the 2018 Rotten Tomatoes score contest that I won handily last year. When I say handily, I mean I pulled it out with the last film. So we're going to give it another shot, see if Matt can take the crown and get his hands on that juicy $35 gift certificate. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a fight to the finish this year. But let's start everything off with a clip from The Nun.
I had a series of visions when I was younger. And after each one ended, the same thought would be stuck in my head.
What did you see?
I saw a nun. Word of my visions reached the church, and I was asked to accompany a priest to an abbey in Romania.
The abbey has a long history.
Valak.
Not all good.
What?
Finley him down. Callahan's here.
So you heard it right there, Matt, all right? So Tessa Farmiga and Demain Bashir are sent to this abbey that something horrible's happened, and they're sent out to investigate it. And they encounter Valak, which is the demon that assumes the form of the nun. And they have to combat it and try and save all humanity and stop it from escaping this abbey. So, as I said in the opening, Matt, I really enjoyed the first two Conjuring films. And I think as we both agree, the second Annabelle film is quite good. But I really felt that this could have had the chance to be the better of the spin-offs. It's got all the ingredients, right? It's got the gothic setting in the old abbey, the religious iconography just begging to be spun upside down. It's got nuns and demons. It's got Demian Bashir, Tessa Farmiga. I thought I was going to be looking forward to this. I thought this might be a good thriller. It certainly made enough money. It cost $22 million to make, Matt, and it's pulled in $228.7. So
What?
They are pretty happy about this back at the Conjuring U HQ. But Matt, and one other thing too, I want to talk about, this is one of the few films we actually got to see together, which I always really enjoy. Even though the rule is we can't discuss how our thoughts about the film, but sometimes
it's pretty immediate.
So, given all these factors that go into it, Conjuring universe, you got a scary nun, gothic setting, you have a pretty good stable of actors, or at least two of them. So, why didn't this work?
Yeah, I have no idea.
For you.
It didn't work. It did not work, Chris. It was now I will say I've seen all the Conjuring movies except the first Annabelle, which I believe I skipped on your recommendation. Just said don't watch it, and that is what happened. So I can't say if this is worse than that, but it's just not good. It's just a mess that just makes absolutely no sense. I think I leaned over to our companion that was at the movies, and I said, does this movie actually have a plot? And I think that's really kind of what this was wrong with this film, is it doesn't have any kind of cohesive storyline whatsoever. They just kind of go from scene to scene to scene. And honestly, the principles are just not that interesting to be able to hold it. And it's just not scary. It's really not scary at all, which is really a shame.
Well, I think there's your cardinal sin. This thing isn't remotely scary. Mm-hmm. And it's just a disaster. I don't understand it. It's an exceptionally lazy script, I think, is one of the big issues I have with it. An exceptionally dull narrative. The film's uneven. I don't know if they were blindfolded when they were kind of cutting this thing together, but the way that they go from shot to shot and scene to scene. Another thing, too, is the film makes no logical sense, and it doesn't even stick to the logic that they've built in this universe. I don't understand what was happening at the Abbey. Were there nuns? Were there not there? Were they possessed? Were they ghosts? Were they? The whole thing. I
don't even think the movie knows. The movie doesn't know.
That's just what I was going to say. I don't think even the director knows what he ended up making the call. And don't give me this, well, this is one of those things. Well, he was trying to keep it deliberately kind of ambiguous. No. This is just poorly done. Let me give you an example. The lazy script for me, when the French Canadian guy who guides them, he's their Sherpa to the Abbey, right, Matt? What's his nickname? Just if you were to guess out of the blue what the French guy's nickname is, what do you think it would be?
Well, it certainly couldn't be Frenchie, because that would just be too on the nose.
Oh, no. Well, very well could be. So, it's just, listen, the cast is, I think, uniformly committed. I think Tessa and Bashir are fine in this. I think they do the best they can with what they got. But the biggest sin of this thing is it's not even remotely scary. And I think that they horribly misuse or underutilize the nun's character. All this thing is just horror cliche after horror cliche. I was just waiting for the cat to jump out and scare me when they were walking down the hall. You know, it's just that's the kind of movie it is. And it's just it's a disappointment for me.
Yeah, and it's a real shame, too, because The Nun, even though it really had no narrative sense to be in The Conjuring 2, was actually a pretty unsettling visual, and it was a kind of a creepy thing. And you know what? I have to say this, spoiler alert, guys, but The Nun, it feels like The Nun is barely in this film. Like, she doesn't show up, like, at all. It's all just kind of like
they're
talking about this great evil. It really, you know what this kind of was? This is like a gothic horror film that just didn't work on any level. It's like what they were trying to make. It's like they bought a script off of the shelf that was languishing and they just inserted The Nun somewhere in it just to try and put the two together.
Like a Cloverfield Conjuring type thing where they just take
exactly
an existing thing and then just figure out what is shoehorn Cloverfield into it.
Yeah, they're like, here's this gothic horror film that has some nuns in it. We can just put that on there. We've already paid for it.
Man, the material is so ripe to be terrifying too, and especially after seeing something like Hereditary, right? Where you're just, though it's a different kind of horror, but you're uneasy and upset and discomfort, you know, the entire time. This one, you're just so passive watching this thing, and you're like, oh yeah, here, watch. See that old Mother Superior nun there? She's gonna be dead. Watch, something's gonna happen. Oh, look, see. There it goes. So it's exceptionally lazy and poorly done. And actually, I looked it up. Annabelle had a 29% on Rotten Tomatoes. The Nun, 27%.
All right, well, there you go. This is basically Crimson Peak without any of Guillermo del Toro's flourishy touches, is basically what this film is.
Yeah. And much, much worse.
Much worse.
So I gave The Nun a D. Where'd you come down?
I'm going to give it a D-. I don't think I can bring it to an F, but it was pretty close. I'm really giving out the Fs this year. I think it's like skirting with my third. It's crazy.
Yeah, I just, you know what? I appreciate what you said too about how, you know, you didn't know how really she fits into the narrative structure of The Conjuring. And I guess the plan was, if this thing does well enough, they could do a second or a third film, which would kind of bring it full circle and bring it into the Conjuring universe. I don't want to at this point. I'd rather just stick with what we had in part 2, and then let's call it. Because if they're going to do it, listen, you could do a thing like I wanted them to do with Jack Reacher, where you take a passable film and make it better the next time around, which they failed at miserably. That's what I'm afraid of here. I mean, there's an opportunity. It did well enough, though I think the word of mouth, and even the cinema score for this is pretty bad, that I don't know if you can get a second bite of this apple, at least not theatrically, maybe straight to video. But you could, I guess, try a sequel and fix it and do it right, but I don't know.
It's going to happen. It's made $200 million. I mean, they're going to make a sequel.
Budget, yeah.
So we can look forward to Patrick Wilson crooning out some Blue Christmas or something. I really look forward to it while he comforts people in The Nun. Conjuring 3, back in the habit.
Okay. Conjuring 3 I'm on board for. I thought the second one actually, I think I enjoyed it more than the first. But it's this spin-off stuff. We're 1 for 3 with the spin-offs.
Well, you know what? And to be fair, that one that is pretty good had absolutely no right in the world being good. I think honestly, that's really what they're doing. They're going out and finding these scripts and they're just like shoehorning in something, and they just happen to land on a decent one. They're not actually writing these scripts for the actual films. They're just being like, oh, let's see what we got languishing in that we bought the rights to a long time ago.
I guess. I don't know. Just don't see it, folks. It's already made a ton of money. Save yours. Wait for if you're a big fan, maybe wait for it to hit video. There's no reason to see this in the theater.
No.
That's just no. Shoot us an email, feedback@thefirstrun.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Maybe we're wrong. I don't see that's how remotely possible. But when we're laughing through a horror film and it's not Shaun of the Dead or Evil Dead 2, there's something going wrong. All right, Matt, let's move on. Let's go ahead and talk about what's coming up on Blu-ray and DVD this upcoming Tuesday. Here's a catalog release that I remember watching this when it came out, and I thought it was hilarious. I don't know if that's still the case. Let's see if you can recognize this one.
You, old man. Look, I am in desperate need of assistance.
Well, what's on your mind, little girl?
I realize that you are most likely the product of lower-class inbreeding, but perhaps you could help me.
Oh, gosh, I certainly hope so.
I have been wandering this dreary village in hopes of finding the Queen Catherine. You wouldn't have any idea where she might be docked, would you?
You know what you are? You're one of those little, fancy lads, aren't you? Boy, you're cute.
Okay.
Gosh, what a sweet little outfit. Is it your little spring outfit?
No.
You couldn't be cuter. You're so adorable. Oh, my. You remind me of my niece, Sally. Lovely girl. She's a dietitian. Hey, would you like to buy a monkey?
No, I don't want to buy a monkey.
Are you sure?
No, I'm on my way. Your
All right.
family must be very proud
All
of
right,
you.
we'll see you, honey.
So, Matt, what's that movie?
That's Cabin Boy. It took me a minute to figure it out, but I was just waiting for the Dave Letterman "You Want to Buy a Monkey" because I still remember that from the Oscars, that when he hosted the Oscars.
I don't know I don't know. I've always liked that film, though. Like I said, I haven't watched it in probably 10, 15 years, so who knows if it still holds up. But now you can pick it up on Blu-ray, featuring all new audio commentary with Chris Elliott and the director Adam Resnick, and a new interview with Elliott and Resnick as well. Some other stuff coming out you may be more interested in because you're a snob, unlike me. This upcoming Tuesday, the 18th. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. If you get it from Best Buy, Matt, you get a steel book. Target's got a digibook, and Walmart has a Funko Pratt in blue keychain thing. You know the Funko things?
Sure,
I don't
yeah.
get the appeal of those things at all. Do you like those?
I don't see why they've blown up. I will admit I do have a couple when they first came out. Like I have Spider-Man and stuff like that, but they lost their allure very quickly.
Yeah. So there's a whole bunch of featurettes on the thing, making one sounds kind of interesting here. Monster in a Mansion. The director discusses how Jurassic Park and Dracula influenced his approach to directing the Monster in a Mansion scene. And it's the Langella Dracula. So
Very nice.
Siberia, starring Keanu Reeves. He plays an American diamond merchant who travels to Russia to sell rare blue diamonds of questionable origin. As the deal begins to collapse, he falls into an obsessive relationship with a Russian cafe owner in a small Siberian town. As their passions build, so do the treacherous world around them of the diamond trade in which he is unable to extricate himself. Both collide as the American man desperately looks for escape in a world with no exit. I've heard this is not good. But we like pushing some Keanu when we can. Some TV shows being released. Supergirl Season 3, which I believe is already on Netflix. I did not see this season at all. So I have to catch up with that. X-Files Season 11. I watched the first 2 or 3 episodes of Season 10 when they relaunched it. I did not see Season 11. I got to tell you, Season 10, obviously it wasn't enough to keep me hooked. Did you see either of them?
I did watch all of Season 10. It was really, really uneven, although the comedic episode was actually really, really good. That was the only highlight. But I skipped Season 11 completely.
Fair enough. The Looming Tower on Hulu is being released on Blu-ray as well, which is the story, I guess, of the interagency fights pre 9/11 and how that breakdown led to that attack happening, or at least not being stopped. And then I believe Studio Canal is releasing Community, the complete series on Blu-ray. I have all the DVD sets, so I probably will not be picking this up, though I didn't buy the Gas Lake season, which I believe is Season 4.
Okay.
And I've only seen 4 or 5 episodes of the final season that was on that failed Yahoo TV launch.
Yeah, I've never watched the last season either.
So I'd like to try and I got to catch up with that someday. I have the set. I just haven't gotten around to watching it yet, unfortunately. You know what I'm watching right now that's really good? I think I'm 6 episodes in, 5, 6. Season 3 of Preacher.
Oh yeah, Preacher was a pretty solid season this season. I liked it.
I thought 2 was underwhelming, so I've been really liking this one so far. Criterion is releasing My Man Godfrey on Blu-ray, starring Carol Lombard and William Powell. This should be a great one. It includes a new digital restoration of the film with an uncompressed monaural soundtrack, new piece about the film with jazz and film critic Gary Giddens, a new discussion about the director Gregor LaCava, and some outtakes, as well as the Lux Radio Theater adaptation of the film from 1938. I always kind of like that when they include the radio versions. Arrow is releasing a couple films. One, Horror of the Malformed Men, includes a brand new 2K restoration of the film from the original negative. You ever hear of Horror of the Malformed Men?
I have not, no.
It's one of the supposedly, I believe it was one of the video nasties, and it was kind of banned for a very long time, and it's now being released from Arrow. It includes, on the first pressing, there's a collector's booklet featuring new writing by some writers, Jasper Sharp, Tom Mess, and Grady Hendrix. Arrow's also relieving themselves of, they're releasing the Pajama Girl case, which is based on the real-life infamous murder case that shocked the world. When the mutilated corpse of a young woman is found on an Australian beach, retired Detective Thompson involves himself in the investigation. But before they can find the killer, the police must identify the victim. It stars Ray Milland, if you're familiar with like Dial M for Murder. Mm-hmm. Maybe the monster with 2 heads with Rosie Greer.
Okay.
Where's the man with 2 heads? I can't remember. Twilight Time is releasing The Last Hurrah. 3,000 copies, limited, of course. Spencer Tracy stars in John Ford's sentimental adaptation of Edwin Arcano's novel about the final campaign of a big city mayor, loosely based upon the life of Boston politician James Curley. And then your straight-to-DVD pick of the week, Matt. Silencer. A retired hitman, played by Johnny Mesner, must leave the quiet life he has built to rescue a young girl kidnapped by the kingpin of a ruthless drug cartel, Danny Trejo. Haunted by the lives he took as a military sharpshooter, he sets out on a blood-soaked battle to return the child. Also featuring Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell in this action-packed race for vengeance. I've always liked the, what do you call them, sniper video games. I don't know what it is, but I always kind of like I like to go with this, like with Borderlands, I always went with the sniper guy.
Oh, okay. Like to kill from a distance, huh, Chris?
I do. I like to be cold and dispassionate and not have to be right up close.
There you go. Not me.
That's right. Matt likes to feel the blood.
That's right.
Warm blood.
Like to run up with a shotgun and get in their face.
After
That's how I like to play my video games.
That's right. Speaking of which, before you get your streaming pick of the week, I finally saw MacGruber.
Isn't it fantastic? It's really underappreciated. It really is.
Maybe I should save it for my Great Unwatched. Since
you should.
Way behind.
It's fantastic.
But it made me miss my flight home. So,
did it? Are you serious?
Yeah, it did.
Wow, that's pretty pathetic.
It's not entirely my fault. So what happened was the flight was delayed 25 minutes. Right, okay. I got the alert when I'm getting there. I'm like, all right. So I'm sitting at the gate and I'm waiting. I'm looking up. People are still hanging out. I'm waiting. All right, but I'm watching the movie on my iPad. And then I'm like, everybody starts getting in line. So I get up and I go to the gate, and the gate says Orlando. And I'm like, what? So I turn around and I see the gate. They moved. So they moved the gate on me. And the 25-minute delay, they made it up. There was no delay.
Oh wow. Okay. So what'd you do? Did you have to pay out extra money, or how did that work?
So they were going to get me on the flight the next day, and I said, let me go see what I can do. So I bolted over to the Orlando one, and they got me on that flight. No problem.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And then I had to rent a car and drive home from Orlando.
Oh wow. Nice.
So there
all
you go.
Because of Will Forte.
That's right. If I didn't have my headphones in, I would have heard that the flight was now on time and that they had moved the gate.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sure Jen was very pleased.
She was sleeping by then. So what should you be streaming?
Okay. So in honor of our martial arts film marathon that we're doing, I'm going to recommend a classic that was kind of out of the running for this, but stars the intimidable Jean-Claude Van Damme in one of his earliest starring roles. I'm, of course, talking about Bloodsport, where he plays military martial artist Frank Dux, who apparently is a real guy. Frank Dux.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a real guy. And this is basically based on his hearsay things of fighting in these illegal tournaments. But basically, he goes to avenge a student of his sensei and fight in the Kumite stars Bolo Young opposite him as the
Yes,
evil,
Bolo.
his evil counterpart, and you get to see some brilliance of overacting as Jean-Claude fights blind at the end. Spoiler alert, but it is absolutely fantastic.
Is that the one where he dances?
I can't remember if it's this one or Kickboxer. I think the one where he dances is Kickboxer. I'm pretty sure it's Kickboxer, yeah.
I showed my wife that dance scene, and she laughed for about 10 minutes straight.
Yeah, that was fantastic. If you haven't seen it, guys, Jean-Claude Van Damme, dance Kickboxer, Google that. YouTube it. It is fantastic. But Bloodsport's really good, too. And it's available on Amazon Prime for your viewing pleasure.
There you are. All right, Matt. Let's move on. I want to just share a couple thoughts on the film Peppermint. So
Okay.
Let's hear Jennifer Garner kind of just tell you how it's going to be.
Watching someone take everything from you. All you have. All you're ever gonna have. Just gone. Hurts, doesn't it? Knowing that it's all over and there is nothing you can do about it. You didn't serve justice, Your Honor. I will.
And then she blows him up. So Jennifer Garner plays, she's not the titular Peppermint. That's not actually how it goes. She plays Riley North. And her husband had a little shady past, but he straightened himself out, right, Matt? And they have a lovely young daughter. It's her birthday. So times are tough, though. They're struggling to get by. So a buddy of his talks to her husband and says, listen, I got a job. It's, in and out, easy. Don't worry about it. We can make some money and no one will know. And he thinks about it, but then he says, you know what? I don't want to mess things up. I'm married to Jennifer Garner, for Pete's sake. I'm not going to screw that up. So what happens, though, is things go bad. What happens is this guy was going to rob a drug dealer. And the drug dealer's like, well, if you even thought about doing it, I have to set an example. So he takes him out. They're at an amusement park celebrating the kid's birthday, and they do the drive-by. They kill the husband and the daughter. It gets killed. Garner's off in the distance picking up some napkins because they got some ice cream. And then she disappears for a while, does her whole Batman training thing, comes back, which we don't get to see any of for some reason, and exacts her revenge. So what happens is the cops are paid off, the judge is paid off, everybody's paid off, right? So nothing ever happens. So she comes back, she kind of becomes the avenging angel of this neighborhood and starts to take out everybody involved. And it's really, really dumb. Matt, if there was a movie that was worse than The Nun in the theaters this week, it may have been this. I'll tell you at the end what my final grade is. But listen, it's directed by Pierre Morel, who directed Taken, which is a lot of fun. Another dumb kind of action revenge movie, but still fun. And I love me some revenge films. But this, and unlike the film we saw earlier this year, Revenge, which took the exploitation film and kicked it squarely in the boy parts, this thing does nothing with its female lead in its capacity. You could have inserted anybody. You could put me in this thing, and it would have been just as entertaining. It's Garner, I guess, is fine in it, but it's got an exceptionally poor script. It's dully executed. The action scenes are okay, but nothing comes close to like a MacGruber throat rip. It is a little violent at times, but that's it. I really wish this thing was a little more interesting. I think if we had more of a systematic kind of stalking and an elimination of all the corrupt officials and then the gang members, maybe, but we jump from like scene to scene. And there's one thing too that I've been really struggling with internal logic the last few weeks in these films. And this one really suffers from it. So there's a scene, I'm just going to tell you because I don't want you to see this thing, where the drug dealers set her up, right? They set up their drug lab, so they know she's going to go there. She gets there, and they blow it up while she's inside. Thankfully, she's able to get into the sewer system, through the warehouse, and then she pops out the warehouse. So here's the thing. The gang members are there, right? And they blow up the warehouse, and then they take off. Garner shows up, pops out of the sewer grate, steals a guy's car, and then is able to catch up with them and chase them down because she knows where they're going.
Right.
I mean, it's just bizarre stuff like that. It's another thing where I just think the editor was high when he was putting this thing together. It's just really dumb and really just a waste of time. I love myself a good revenge action film just as much as the next person, but it's just not terribly good. In the end, I think this may be slightly more enjoyable than The Nun, but not much. I ended up giving this a D+.
All right.
And I never want to see this thing again. I don't want to see a sequel to this. It's too bad, because maybe it could have been interesting, and maybe Garner could have had a new franchise on her hands with this thing, but not with this stinker. Hard pass.
That's too bad. That was a very good Mr. Blonde impression too, in that little clip you played there. So
you're welcome.
Yeah, it's very nice.
It stinks.
Wah, wah,
wah. All right.
We are up on the lingo, huh? We are very hip these days.
Yes, we are. We certainly are. All right, let's continue our martial arts marathon, Matt, and let's go ahead and talk about the 5 deadly poisons, the 5 venoms. Not poisons, venoms. What's wrong with it? It's the Poison Clan.
Poison Clan,
That's
right.
what it is. So I'm not totally off base. But let's hear from the master what this is all about.
You've not specialized in any one skill, because I chose to teach you all the 5 main techniques, as there was little time. So then, compared with the other pupils, you don't stand up. You're not really their match. I taught all I could, but time's run out. So the only way you could ever beat the others, or stand a chance, would be to combine with one of those 5. I worry about what they're all doing. What I taught them could be used wrongly, for evil, to hurt men. So then, I would like to make sure that this hasn't been the case, and you will do that for me.
Teacher, me?
Otherwise, my soul couldn't rest in peace. If they're bad, you must kill them.
All right, Matt. So you curated this martial arts list, so you get to intro each one of these things. What is the 5 deadly venoms all about?
Well, it kind of laid it out right there in that clip. So basically,
all right, well, here's what I want. I want you to tell me though, what are the 5 deadly venoms? Who are they, and what are they?
Sure. So this kung fu master, he's had 5 pupils, and he lists out each one of them by number. Number 1 is a master of the centipede style, quick and flurry.
Mm-hmm.
You can't defend it. Really can't defend it against any of these, really. Number 2 is snake style. Number 3 is scorpion style. Number 4 is lizard style, although I don't understand how a lizard is a poison. And then number 5 is the best style of them all, toad style. So it is. It's basically what? Go ahead.
I would say if I had to choose one, I would go toad.
Yeah, I mean he's invulnerable. I mean toad style, he is invulnerable. But essentially he's got this 6th student he's kind of like the first run of the rest of them. They're all really specialized on something, but he's only, he's okay at a lot of things, but he's not really exceptional at any one thing. So he sends them out to go find them. And kind of conveniently, the first 2 know each other and the last 2 know each other, but they don't know each other. But all 4 of them don't really recognize each other, and nobody knows who the 3rd one is. And basically they get involved in this plot where I guess a partner of the kung fu master, he got really rich, and they murder him and they try and find his fortune. Honestly, this movie makes absolutely no sense. It was actually I have a confession. I had to go with what was available on like Prime or Netflix or something streaming. So I had heard of this, but I had never seen it. And it is. I hate to say it. I don't see what all the hype is. I did not really enjoy this at all, to be quite honest with you.
You didn't at all, huh?
No, I mean, when the fight scenes were good, they were fun to watch.
Were they?
They weren't good, but they were that. Here's the thing. This thing does not stack up to Fist of Fury at all. Like, no. This is absolutely just, this is exploitation, bad filmmaking, and it has no benefits to that. It's basically like an anime. Like, it's like, okay, there's these 5 guys, each has a special power, and we're going to go through them one by one and attack on a nonsensical murder story at the same time.
Well, I think that's exactly right. In fact, my first note is that this was a Saturday morning cartoon of a martial arts film. It's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And I gotta admit, it's gotta stink to just be Yang. Everybody's like centipede, snake, scorpion. Hey, Yang. You can't give him some cool name? That's just.
He didn't even get to be a cool number. He said, "I'm number 4," but Lizard Style's number 4. Shouldn't he be number 6? Doesn't make any sense. Internal logic. Five Venoms.
Jesus, I don't get it. So anyway, but I don't know. I thought it was a ton of fun, Matt. I mean, I didn't.
Did you?
I did. I think the martial arts left me wanting, particularly the first 2/3 of the film. Just it's a lot of defensive moves and jumping around. Mm-hmm. So it's not terribly good. I think it picks up a little bit at the end. It's a little bit better, but like you said, it doesn't compare to Fist of Fury at all.
Oh.
So, but I did enjoy the mystery storyline. I mean, it's a little corny. Like I said, it's a Saturday morning cartoon. It's like Scooby-Doo meets, the Five Deadly Venoms. So, and I did like the fact that it wasn't one of those typical I have to avenge my dojo or master type stuff. There was actually another plot in the film that really it's just there to progress you through the film more than it is an interesting thing, but still, I enjoyed it. And I also enjoyed the palette of the film. It was very vibrant. There was a lot of use of color in this thing that I pretty much enjoyed. So I thought it was fine. When it ended, all I could think of is that I want them to remake this today with like Jackie Chan and Iko Uwais, Donnie Yen, Tony Jaa. Get all these guys and remake this film. And I just don't know if I want it to be super serious and ultra violent or if I want it to be kind of corny and fun.
Right. Well, I mean, it's not this film if they don't sit there and explain what each style is all about with a montage for 5 minutes.
That's right. But I think that would be a lot of maybe, have Gareth Evans, come back and direct it. I think that would be a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I enjoyed it. I actually ended up giving it a B-. What were your thoughts though? And then give me your grade.
Like I said, I wasn't very impressed with it. I love cheesy martial arts movies, as based on my my recommendation. But they have to have a certain charm to them, and this one just left me cold. Like I thought it was a lot more convoluted than it was its own good. Like if they had just stuck with it was a Saturday morning cartoon, it would have been a heck of a lot better. But I see what they were trying to do. It just wasn't. It didn't sell me on it. I mean, it left me kind of cold. I'm gonna unfortunately give it a C. And it's really unfortunate because you tweeted about this and you actually got some strangers to like the tweet because you were talking about this film.
So yeah, it's got a following. I think
it does.
It was in the top 50 cult films, I think, on Entertainment Weekly.
Yeah, number 11.
Yeah. So,
seriously. I guess I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. It happens every once in a while.
Once in a great while, you're gonna hit that. Yeah. Right. I'm just gonna let that go. So if you had a chance to see the Five Deadly Venoms, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. What do we have coming up next? Do you remember? I can't remember.
Yeah, we didn't really pick an order, but I think I'm going to go with Street Fighter, starring Sonny Chiba, Hattori Hanzo himself, as a street fighting assassin for hire who does good in protecting a little girl. It's fantastic.
That's supposed to be classic, so
yeah.
I'm looking forward to that one. Good to know. Mm-hmm. All right. It is finally here. We are now going to do our 2018 Rotten Tomatoes score contest. Here's a film that if this thing gets above a 50, I'll pass out. I just don't think it's here. Just listen to this clip and then you tell me.
We will eat both your arms and then both of your legs, and then we will eat your face right up your head. You will be this armless, legless, faceless thing, won't you? Rolling down the street like a turd in the wind. What the hell are you? We are Venom.
Oh, I have a parasite. Yeah. Name is Chen.
Like a turd in the wind.
Yeah. And here's the thing. People have been making fun of that. That's actually, from what I understand, pulled directly from a Venom comic book. Verbatim. So they can't even blame the scriptwriter on this.
I don't know if that helps.
It doesn't help at all. It just shows you what they have to work with. I don't understand what Tom Hardy is doing. But we'll get into it.
He could... I don't want to talk about it. It's just fine. So whatever. Venom's first up. Matt, my Rotten Tomatoes score for the good old Venom without a Spider-Man connection is 32%.
And just to refresh everybody on the rules, this is Price is Right rules. So who's closest without going over, which is what did me in last game. Like, because Chris undershot something by like 12, 15 points, but I was like 2 points over, so I lost. That's how that worked. I
don't make the rules. This isn't man. There are rules.
You do make the rules, and that's the rule you made. But you started it off before, so I guess it's fair play.
Well, it's like I pulled it out of my pocket right at the end.
No, you're right.
By the way, it's
that's why I said it's fair play. It's fair play because you said it at the end, but you did make the rule. Let's not lie here. So there we go.
All right.
So what was it? 35?
I said 32.
32. I'll
let you go first too. We'll alternate so you can.
Okay. Without going over, God, I think that's a little low, but I'm going 35. I'm not confident, but I think it's going to be a little better. But if I end up going over, I'm going to be very upset.
All right. Next up is Halloween. What do you got?
So for the Danny McBride remake, this could either be really good or just be completely mediocre. I'm going to go 53%.
Ooh. All right. You may have me here because I have 63.
Okay. There you go. Going over. Big money.
Bohemian Rhapsody, which of course is the Queen Focus on Freddie Mercury film.
Mm-hmm.
I think my love for the band is coloring me on this one a little bit.
I think you're right.
But I'm going 80%.
80%, huh?
Yep.
That's Hollywood does love a biopic, and apparently, what's his name?
Ryan Malek or something?
Malek, yeah. Rami Malek. He's supposed to be really, really good at this. I think 80% is pretty high. I'm going to go 74%.
You know, it's funny because when you were talking, I was thinking 72.
Were you?
I did. I was seriously thinking going down to 72 because I think you're right. That 80 might be a bit high. I'm going to think on that. I'll have to wrap it up.
Whoa. You got to decide before the end of the show.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I will decide before the end of the show, before the end of this segment.
Okay.
All right.
Suspiria. That's your one do-over. This is Price is Right rules. You don't get to go back again.
Suspiria. Go ahead.
So this is the remake of one of the most bizarre yet most beloved horror films of all time. I think this is going to be just way too weird for people, and I think now some of the buzz is people either absolutely adore it or they just don't understand why it was made at all. And I think that's going to win out in the end. I'm going to say that this thing is going to have a 44%.
Wow.
Yeah.
44. Wow. All right.
I just think the zeros are going to split the difference on the love on this, and I think I don't understand why this thing got made, and I really don't understand Dakota Johnson. I just do not think that she can do this at all.
44. I'm starting to get nervous. I got 68.
Okay.
44.
I don't think we have a very strong slate going through here.
Interesting. Wow. All right. Then who's up? I'm up now, right? For Overlord?
Yeah.
I have 53.
53% for the J.J. Abrams World War II zombie epic. Yeah, I'm not thinking it doesn't look that good, to be quite honest with you. It does not look that good. I'm going to pull a $1. I'm going to go 51%.
I missed it. I totally missed it. What'd you say for Bohemian Rhapsody? 74?
74, yeah.
All right. I've already dropped mine down to 72. That's how confident I am.
Okay.
All
Way
right.
to stand by your convictions.
That's me.
At least you're not letting your judgment cloud. And if it does better, then you can just crow from the rooftops, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right,
Really cool to
Fantastic
come with, though.
Beasts, the something Crimes of Grindelwald or something.
Gosh, I wish I knew it. If I had done any research, I could have checked to see what the last one did.
I'll tell you if you want me to tell you.
Okay,
I
sure.
have
What
no
is it?
problem doing that? I think that's fair. Oh, it'll help if I spell it right. Fantastic Beasts. Come on, baby. Dad needs a new pair of shoes. Here we go. 74.
Really? That seems high. All right, I'm gonna go 66. 66%.
I'm in trouble. I have 71. I hate being just above. All right, Ralph breaks the internet.
Go ahead. You go ahead. Sorry.
I have this. I have this rather high because I loved the last one a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I have this at 84.
Wow, that's crazy. Because I have it at 81%.
Do you?
Yes.
There's no. Do we have any drastic differences? Just Suspiria, I guess. Like last time, where I was able to get you because of that. Oh, here's the next one. Ooh, this will be a good one. You ready?
Yeah.
Aquaman.
Ugh, see, this is the one. See, either this could really bring it around, or it's going to be completely mediocre. And I'm really betting on the second one, just from what I've seen. Everything is produced. Beyond Wonder Woman. God, I feel like this is going to screw me again. The stupid DCEU is going to screw me again. 56%.
56 for Aquaman.
Yeah.
All right. I'm at 65.
Are you? Okay.
Mm-hmm. I initially had 72.
Wow,
when
that's
I first
completely
did
wrong.
this. But then I'm like, So I brought it down to 65. And then finally,
okay,
Holmes and Watson.
Now, see, we have not seen really anything of this other than
one picture. As I've seen.
One picture. But let's see. Let's just do something here. Ooh, okay. Step Brothers got a 55%. There's no way. Okay, I'm gonna have to readjust here. Okay, and I'm gonna go 52%.
52, huh?
Yeah.
God damn it. I had 61.
Did you? You don't have to stick with it. Make a decision now if you don't like it.
No, it's fine. It's fine. So, all right, here we go. I'm going to run them down now.
Okay.
Venom, I had 32. You had 35.
Okay.
Halloween, 63 for me, 53 for you.
Mm-hmm.
Bo Rap, 72, 74. So you're, I think that's the one you're above me.
Okay. Well, and the first one.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Suspiria, I had 68. I'm much more bullish on that than you are. You're at 44. Yes. That one's probably going to do me in.
You think so?
Overlord, I had 53%. You had 51. Fantastic Beast 2, I'm at 71. You're at 66. Probably the smarter play. Ralph Breaks the Internet. We're both a little high maybe, but we'll see. 84 for me, 81 for you. Aquaman, we have inverted numbers. I have 65. You have 56. And then a Holmes and Watson, 61% for me, 52% for you. Again,
There's no way that it's better than Step Brothers. No way. And they hated Step Brothers.
Closest to the actual score without going over. And I would have gotten hammered in this first one because I had the Predator. I think I had it like at 60 something.
What were you thinking? Even just based off of the previews.
And I didn't even like the trailers too. But I thought, I give Shane Black a lot of slack. Not anymore. But Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is a great film.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I really don't have an explanation for that. So.
Didn't he do The Nice Guys too?
Yes. Thank you. Another film I loved. Good point.
Yeah.
So that's it, folks. What are your scores? Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts all about that as well. Next week, well, we're going to talk about the aforementioned The Predator by Mr. Shane Black.
Are we going to try and fit in White Boy Rick too? I kind of want to try and see it.
I don't know. I was actually leaning more towards seeing A Simple Favor. As part of it when I go.
We can split the difference.
You want to check out one? I'll see the other.
Yeah, I want to see White Boy Rick.
Okay, we'll do that. And then I think the first film I want us to do if we can get to it, a horror marathon. Because I think there's a lot of stuff we haven't caught up with. Ghost stories. Right?
Sure.
And of course, you can rent or buy Mandy right now.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
So that's the first one in October, I think. We work in Mandy. So that's going to be the big show for this week. Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Check us out on the First Run website as well. We're on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and just scroll. Eventually you will find us. Go to Apple Podcasts and throw us up a quick review. That's how other people will find the show that you love so dearly. Matt, let's go ahead then and take an extended break. And we will see you all soon.
It doesn't matter. It's not like I'm seeing anyone. There's just a guy.
A guy that goes to Greendale? Is it the Russian guy that looks like a short Johnny Depp?
It doesn't matter.
Is it the guy who looks a little like Vince Vaughn but smells a lot like fish?
I don't want to talk about it.
Well, I have someone in my life that I'm happy to talk about.
Again, with the Jesus.
Jesus is always in my life, but things have been looking better every day with my ex-husband.
Is it the guy that looks like Anderson Cooper but with the soul patch and the ponytail?
No.
Is it Black Michael Chiklis?
No.
And White George Foreman?
You guys are talking about the same person. He's biracial, his name is David, and he's a human being. Guys, stop guessing. It's not a thing at all. It's just a friend. Change the subject.
Let's get back to who Annie's in love with. Is it Fat Neil?
Blue Streak?
Optimus Prime?
Okay, even I know some of these are Transformers.
Who cares who it is? Let's just study.
Study what? We haven't had a first class yet.
Well, can we talk about something other than Annie's love life?
We could talk about my love life.
Is it Jean-Claude Van Overbite?
We should really start learning people's names.
I agree with Brown Jamie Lee Curtis.